All right, beautiful soul. Welcome back to this week's edition of the You Unlimited podcast. I am so grateful that you're here, that you were magnetized into this space for this specific message. Because if you're here, that means your soul was calling you forward into this space to receive a golden nugget. I always set that intention that if you're magnetized into the space, there's a golden nugget here for you that's going to remind you of what you already know to be true within yourself. So this is meant to be more of a state of remembering than anything else. We have everything that we really need within ourselves, and it's just around allowing ourselves to be in different spaces, mirrored spaces, to get the stimuli that we need to remember what our soul has been trying to communicate with us. So, with that in mind, what I was just channeling specifically for today's episode was around this idea of honoring your own personal seasonality. And what I mean by that is collectively, we have all been almost under this experience of saying, let's only be celebrated when we're running, when we're sprinting, when we're crossing the finish line, when we have the big things that are happening. And we think we need to be on like that all the time. And there's a big part of so many of us, and tune in, see if this is your truth, but do you shame yourself when you have moments of feeling tired, moments of feeling like you want to come inward, moments of not having the creative desire to build something new, moments of not wanting to run the marathon today or even put on your gym clothes today and hit the gym? Do you have these moments where you find you're kind of shaming yourself when your body is telling you something in particular? And the goal is for us to start to honor our seasonality and for us to start to reframe what it means and what that looks like, because some of the most empowering downloads that we receive, some of the most expansive business ideas and things of that nature come through in the pockets where we're actually quiet and not moving. And so the big message that was coming through from our angels and guides was allowing ourselves to really tune in and to recognize that our seasonality is happening for a reason so that we know where to go. Because so often we're just running and we don't realize we are running someone else's race, or we are running in the wrong direction, or we're just a little bit off. Like if you're looking at a compass, maybe 5% off, and we don't realize there's a way to really attune our energy and to start to get more in alignment with our divine truth so that we can be running the race that's in alignment with our soul, making moves that are actually going to move the needle in the direction that our soul's deepest desires are, not just what our coach and our mentor and people around us expect from us. And I think that's where burnout happens, is we end up pushing ourselves or trying to reach these standards that we're like, okay, I'm pushing and I'm grinding and I'm doing it, but why am I not feeling fulfilled? And it's like you'll reach these numbers or these milestones, you still don't feel fulfilled, and it's because maybe you're running someone else's race. Doesn't mean the race is right or wrong, it just means it's not yours. So it's so important for us to actually tune in through this cyclical nature of who we are as beings, as energetic beings, so that we can make sure we are so deeply attuned to the race that we're meant to be running, right? And we think about this with flowers, we think about this with plants. Like if they were consistently growing and they didn't have moments where they were shedding what was no longer in alignment, where they were coming in and kind of closing their leaves and allowing themselves to sleep, then we would be overgrown with plants, weeds, just too much of everything, right? And if it was just consistently always doing that, there's no space for pruning what isn't in alignment. There's no space for recognizing, wait, can I pause and really experience the beauty of this moment? Because now it's grown so high, I can't even see it. And so it's this beautiful opportunity for us to start to get into our own beautiful cyclical nature that allows for the downloads to flow through and allows for us to step into an even more aligned version of self. And the beauty of this is to start to just recognize, where is the internal dialogue coming through that isn't actually supporting me in being able to take these breaks or these moments of pause that are actually going to fuel the thing that I desire most. So first, I would love to bring forward this mirror moment of you being able to really tune in and say, am I shaming myself for taking moments of pause? And if so, where is that coming from? Is this voice even mine? Or is it my mother's, my father's, is it the collective consciousness that I feel like is shaming me in this space where I'm not actually able to optimize the moments of quote unquote downtime? So I would first invite you to start to notice what's the internal dialogue when we are in our seasonal spaciousness that is requiring maybe a little bit extra time to come inward, a call for rest, a call for refinement, a call for deeper alignment. So that would be the first thing that I would invite you into is recognize the internal dialogue when your personal seasonality is floating to the surface because it might not be in alignment with other people's seasonalities and letting that be perfect and exactly the way that it's meant to be because when we are comparing ourselves to other people, we are in scarcity. We're essentially saying that if I'm not always going, there's not enough to go around, or this person is taking from me because I'm not personally selling right now, or I'm not doing this thing right now that other people are doing, I should be doing. Anytime we have the word should or should not, I invite you to explore that because that means that there is some cultural conditioning that is attached to the action or inaction itself. And so exploration would be number one when we're starting to explore seasonality and also reframing around what it actually means. So this winter season when we come inward and we all have our own winter and it could happen multiple times in a month. It could happen in July. It could happen today for the first hour of the day. And then all of a sudden I have all the energy that I need to move. It will be so unique to you and your beautiful life force energy. And we're meant to actually follow the seasonality. We're meant to follow how our energy is speaking to us. Our energy is a compass for where we're allowing ourselves to get more finely attuned. And so to reframe what this internal time is, it's not just I'm being lazy or I'm being insert story that isn't actually serving me. It is a moment that is allowing you to get and receive even more life force energy to go after the thing that you want. And it's allowing you to get even more in tune with what you desire. So if you feel like you need to take a nap, if you feel like you just need to take the day off from something, if you feel like you need to cancel something, if you feel like you just desire to meditate and kind of open yourself up to receiving, if you feel like you just want to hand off a task to your partner and say, I just need to step in the shower. These can be as micro or as macro as they look, like sabbaticals, right? Like taking 3 months off, whatever that looks like. But knowing that in that time, in the time where you're really allowing yourself to come inward, there's a reason why you have that desire, why God is prompting you to step into that space to receive finally, because there's an opening. If we are consistently in the doing and consistently in the race, we will not have the energy to one, follow what God's source universe wants to move through us because we're too distracted by our daily grind. And two, we're not going to know when to redirect because sometimes the way that we've been doing things, while it may be working, there's a way to optimize that. There's a way to actually shift something. And until we give ourselves these pockets and places to receive these downloads through creating some spaciousness, through taking the shower when you've already taken a shower today, but you just feel like you want to experience like some more warmth and coziness, give yourself that opportunity to take a pause, take a beat, and without expectation, and just noticing if something comes through. If an idea comes through, if a name pops in your head, maybe reaching out to that person and seeing how they're doing, right? It doesn't have to be this grandiose download where it's like, this is my next multi-million dollar download. It could be that, which is beautiful. And we all love when that happens. And it could be something as simple as a name that pops into your head and you think, you know what? I haven't reached out to him or her in a while. I'm just going to send them a text and see how they're doing. And then they're like, oh my gosh, I'm so glad you reached out to me. I really needed this today. Or maybe they're like, wait, oh my gosh, I was just thinking about you and this is what was coming to mind. I actually want to introduce you to XYZ. Whatever it is, just know that we are consistently being guided. And the more that we create these little pockets to receive and then to follow, because it's one thing to receive and put it in a shoebox, it's quite another to receive and then follow as little or as big as the ping is to then see where that takes us because we are always being guided. And seasonality, our own personal seasonality, is asking for us to tune in to see what that guidance has in store for us. So, this is your reminder to one, notice the internal dialogue that comes up when you're being guided into a season of winter, right? And it doesn't mean it's a full season per se. 4 months, it could mean it's happening for an hour, it's happening for 5 minutes, it's happening for a week, it could be for happening for 4 months, whatever that looks like, or 3 months, or whatever that looks like. Allow yourself to be in that state of receiving and letting that be exactly what it's meant to be, right? Because it's there for a purpose. So, first of all, notice the internal dialogue when it comes up. Second of all, notice how this can actually be and start to reframe in your mind's eye that this can actually be one of the most powerful money making tools that you can do in your business, which is to create breaks in your day that allow for you to actually tune in and say, how do I desire to expand now? Right? All of these things matter. How do I desire to expand now? And my guess is you might start to get downloads around how your business can be selling without you being at the forefront of all of it all the time, right? It might be at that moment in business where it's like, how can I optimize my systems? How can I place funnels in place? How can I allow myself to let my business move when my body doesn't want to? Or when I desire to be in that visionary quest of kind of what is next for me and my brand and what does that feel like and where am I being guided to? Right. So that's the beauty of having systems in place that help your business move when you don't desire to move. But also the beauty of if you're not there yet in business, giving yourself that opportunity to say, let me still get quiet without shaming myself so that I can receive these different downloads on maybe how to optimize and what that could look like and how to take some of that pressure off of me being a one man machine and having to do it all myself. My guess is you're actually stepping into these next level versions and iterations of business where you've got things set up, but how can I optimize next? Who are the right people, places, and opportunities and systems that I can start to put into place so that things are running more smoothly without me having to be at the forefront of absolutely everything? Because that is the mecca, the beauty spot in business where, and granted, this is going to be different for absolutely everyone, but ultimately, because we're seasonal beings, it's really beautiful when our business is optimized for that seasonality as well, which means it can still move when we're not moving. It can still generate revenue when we're not desiring to be at the forefront of selling, jumping on calls, doing the things that you may have been doing before, right? So one of the most revenue generating things that we can do is actually take breaks, follow our own personal seasonality. And this is going to be nourishing not just for business, but for soul relationships, for just feeling replenished, for following your hobbies. Sometimes these moments of rest don't just include laying there. These moments of rest could be like, I want to go work out. Just want to take a break from the daily grind. I want to get some sunshine. I want to be around my favorite people that make me laugh. I want to watch a Christmas movie that feels good. I want to watch that TV show that's totally mindless. I just want to journal. I want to take myself to a new coffee shop. I want to travel. Whatever that could look like will be so different, but it's around really honoring whatever is coming through for you, noticing that there may be inner dialogue that comes up, reframing that inner dialogue through something as simple as, let's say, cognitive behavioral therapy. You could Google it, cognitive behavioral therapy, and it will show you exactly how to walk yourself through that beautiful exercise of reframing. And simultaneously knowing that one of the most productive things you can do is actually pause. Pause from the day to day grind, because that means I'm still doing things the way that we've always done things. And my business and myself are not necessarily evolving when I'm doing that. So know that this is you and your visionary experience of expansion through the pause. A lot of us think, no, expansion, that means I'm moving forward. I'm running, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. It's like sometimes we're actually expanding because our energy has more spaciousness to expand by not exerting it into the same back alleyways we've been running, right? It's allowing it to actually expand and to touch into different visions and what that could feel like and what that feels like to expand into this, that, and the other. And to really take notice of how far you've come. So I would say third step, really take notice of how far you've come. because I think sometimes we don't give ourselves enough credit. Oftentimes, we don't give ourselves enough credit of what we've actually built this year, of what we've actually allowed ourselves to do. And to not just look at it from metrics and numbers, those are beautiful. We all know to look at those. So I'm not discounting those. Those I just feel like are kind of automatic. We're already looking at all that stuff. But what did you do to set your business up differently this year? Who did you hire? Who did you release? Who did you actually, what were the systems you brought in? What worked? What didn't work? What did you learn from what quote unquote didn't work? All of this is the evolution of your business, your brand. All of this is the evolution of. So I would give yourself a moment to really pause, especially given that it's December, to tune in and say, what have I done this year? And I really want to deeply acknowledge myself for everything that I've done so far, because that can be a really empowering exercise and give us so much life force energy to keep going. So, with that, I am sending you so much light and love. I am so grateful for you being in this beautiful space, for gifting us your most precious resource, your time. I hope that that golden nugget has landed and that you will do something with it. Because again, it's one thing to get the intuitive ping and the golden nugget and put it in a shoebox, and it's quite another to follow what it is that felt nourishing and what it is that felt expansive and what it is that had you get really curious. So start to follow that, because that is when the golden nuggets actually start to get the most energy, is when we not just receive it, but we actually allow ourselves to do something with it. So, all right, I'm sending you so much light and love. And until next time.